Hello there. Come on in, get cozy, settle down, because today we're going to be talking about how to reduce toxins in our food. Big topic. We're going to be doing a quick overview, a little introduction, talking specifically about pesticides and some just really changing your awareness around the foods that you're eating and how to make some better choices, right? Now, before we dive in, things are looking a little strange over here today, you might be saying. Yeah, it feels strange too. So, normally, I've got two big, beautiful windows in my office, one that looks out over the canal that we live on, one that looks out over our pool that we're fortunate to have. And we are right in the path of a Category 4 hurricane right now, Hurricane Ian, as I'm recording this. So we are shuttered up and ready to, take action. We've got our water, we've got our canned food, we've got our flashlights, everything that we might need. So, just to explain why things are looking a little bit different today. So, let me know where you are in the world. And hopefully, you're not dealing with hurricane prep like we are here in Southwest Florida. So, I have some slides for you. And by the way, if we haven't yet met, my name is Karin. I'm here in my dark, hurricane shuttered office right now. I'm your health and transformation coach and breast cancer and BRCA2 thriver. And this month, we have been talking about reducing toxins. Why? Because what so often we don't realize, and this was an area that I shifted a lot after my breast cancer diagnosis. I kind of dabbled, I'd made some changes in personal care products, but I hadn't done everything that I've done now, that my husband and I have done throughout our entire home. Um, and so it's one of my passions to share. And the reason for that is I think most of us don't understand how much the chemicals, be it in our home, be in our personal care products, being in our food, affect our overall health and well-being. Our energy, right? A lot of them contain chronic fatigue causing ingredients. Many are carcinogens, many are hormone disrupting. And so, as breast cancer survivors, these things are really, really important to us, especially if we want to be lowering our risk for recurrence, which I don't know about you, but that's me. And I made myself a promise. I made a promise to my husband and my adult kids that I would do everything in my power that I could to not get this disease again. And so I share everything that I learn, everything that I study extensively with you, so that if you choose to make that promise, you can also do what you can. That doesn't mean being perfect, by the way. Hey, Susan, good to see you. Rhonda Joe, hello. Welcome, ladies. Good to see you as always. So let's dive in. Like I said, I've got some slides because, again, it's a lot of information and it's not, I can't remember it all. I don't know about you, but let me know, how's your memory now since breast cancer? Between menopause and breast cancer, it's like, whew. So I do have to make some slides sometimes to help myself out, to make sure that I'm giving you the most concise information that I can. Okay, so today we are talking about reducing toxins in your food. So, and like I said, this is an introduction. It's such a complex question, subject, and I've studied it in depth, but it's honestly, it's too much for just one. Thanks, Rhonda Joe. Rhonda Joe's sharing that she's also right there with me on the memory. Good. Thank you for making me feel not so alone. I know it's something that so many of us, have a hard time with, understandably, right? So let's dive in, guys. And feel free to pop any questions in the chat, as we're going through, as always. Susan sharing what memory, right? Some days it feels like that. For sure, 100%. So, worldwide, more than 5 billion pounds of pesticides are used each year on agricultural crops, farms, forests, golf courses, city parks, and lawns. 5 billion pounds of pesticides. Now, many pesticides, including the long banned DDT, are extremely persistent in the environment. And it's these persistent and bioaccumulative chemicals that are referred to as persistent organic pollutants, or POPs. You may see them referred to as POPs on things, okay? Now that means that if they're persistent in the environment, it's not that they're sprayed or placed and then they dissipate and they're gone with the first rain. They're not. They hang out for a really, really long period of time. So let's take a look at the definition of pesticides, right? Pesticides are chemical substances that are meant to kill, you guessed it, pests. And in general, they're commonly used to eliminate or control a variety of agricultural pests that can damage crops and livestock and reduce farm productivity. In other words, not good for business if we're not controlling those pests. Now, some types of pesticides, because there's all different types, might include insecticides that work on insects, herbicides that work on plants and weeds, rodenticides working on rodents, bactericides working on bacteria, fungicides, fungi, mold, mildew. Really, really, really important. Big issue in coffee, by the way, is fungus and mold. Larvicides for larvae. So today we're going to cover how pesticides found in your food might be affecting your health, where you can find them, and what to eat to minimize these pesticides. All right. I want to make sure that I'm leaving you with some tangible tips here so that you can start to make some differences. Again, don't ever feel like you have to do it all. Taking one item, one step, can have a massive impact in your health and well-being. So do not ever minimize making that one step. It's one step is where we start always. Let me just take a sip of my tea. I've got some ginger tea with a little bit of honey here today, guys. What are you drinking right now as we're on? So part one, let's talk about how pesticides found in your food might be affecting your health, right? It's always good to know because often we might say, yeah, it makes sense. It's bad for us. But I want to know more than that. And I think you deserve to know more than that. So many pesticides are what's known as lipophilic. And what that means is that they're attracted to fat. Now, these chemicals get stored inside our fatty tissues in our bodies. And most of us are walking around with at least an extra 10 pounds of toxic chemicals in our bodies. How many times have you said, if I could just lose that last 10 pounds, I'd feel great? And I bet you never even considered that toxic chemicals could be why it's so stubborn, why you can't lose it. Now, of course, those of us that have gone through breast cancer, one of the major side effects is menopause. Menopause for all of us means more fat around our belly. So we have to be really mindful of these things. Really, really mindful. Susan's drinking her water. Great job, Susan. You know I'm a fan of that. So organophosphate pesticides, we're going to go into some different kinds of pesticides here. A link to chronic fatigue. Hello, who's tired? Lowered IQ. Could that be linked to our memory perhaps too? Increased risk of neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's, memory disorders, Huntington's, and Parkinson's. These are really chronic, right? We see them more and more in society. Also in pregnant women, organophosphate pesticides can lead to decreased IQ in children, increased ADHD, hyperactivity, and attention problems. Again, things that we see all the time in society today, right? Now, low levels of exposure to, and I can never say this word, so I'm just going to leave it up there, this specific type of organophosphate insecticide can lead to a disruption of the gut microbiome. By the way, the gut microbiome is all about, our gut is where 75% of our immune system health comes from. You may or may not have realized that. And so when we're talking about gut health, or inflammation in the intestinal tract, or leaky gut. All of this is relevant to our immune system. Those of you on hormone blocking medications, our immune system is also taking a hit there too. And obviously, if you're going through chemo, big hit, big, big, big hit. So if we can help ourselves out by lowering these pesticides and insecticides, then we are helping out our body and our immune systems. Now, many of those things that I just talked about there are often just widely referred to as IBS by many doctors, and often without any further clarification. We can't just kind of accept, oh, IBS. No, you don't have to live with it, and it doesn't have to be part of your life. Now, low levels of exposure to this chemical too are linked to neurological damage in children. And the Biden administration announced last year, August 18th, 2021, that it's banning this common pesticide widely used since 1965, the year I was born, good year, on fruits and vegetables from use on food crops. And the EPA said just that week that it would publish a regulation to block the use of these chemicals on food in 6 months unless its safety can be demonstrated. Now, I have not yet seen any information that that bill has been passed, and so they are probably still exploring the safety of this chemical. Now, glyphosate, which you will have heard of in one form if you're not familiar with the word yet, is the most widely used herbicide on the planet. And its use has increased nearly 100-fold since 1974. And the amount of people who've tested positive for glyphosate has increased 500% between 1993 and 2016. Why is glyphosate important? Now, it's linked to something called oxidative damage, and oxidative stress can damage cells, proteins, DNA, which can contribute to aging. It may also play a role in development of a range of health conditions, including diabetes, cancer, neurodegenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. And the body naturally produces antioxidants to try and counteract these free radicals. Glyphosate is also linked to neurotoxicity, which can alter the normal activity of our nervous system. And this can eventually disrupt or even kill key cells that transmit and process signals in the brain and other parts of our nervous system. So it's pretty important, right? Glyphosate has been directly linked to breast cancer, miscarriage, kidney disease, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, to name just a few. It has been linked to. We're not guessing here. The studies have been done. So in the body, glyphosate acts like an antibiotic, and it can actually lead to antibiotic resistance. So it can also alter our ability to detoxify other chemicals because it depletes glutathione, our primary enzyme that helps our liver metabolize toxins. You may be familiar with that if you've gone through chemo. Sometimes we are supplemented with glutathione. Having trouble getting my words right today, guys. Sorry. So where can we find these pesticides? I know that got a little bit sciencey, but please hang in with me. I promise the sciencey bit is done. We're now going to get down to the nuts and bolts of where we can find them and the better choices that we can make. Sipping on my tea. So I wish that there was a direct roadmap. There isn't. There's no exact way of knowing what pesticides are used on what products from every location that they might come from. So let's focus on what we do know. Okay, right? We always try to focus on the things that we can control and let go of the things that we can't. If the information isn't there, if the roadmap isn't there, there's nothing we can do about it. But let's focus on what we do know. So organophosphate pesticides are commonly applied to fruits and vegetables. Good to know. The one that I can't say, commonly applied to corn, soybeans, apples, broccoli, asparagus, and other produce. Glyphosate, commonly applied to wheat, barley, oats, beans, and genetically modified organisms, otherwise known as GMOs. Let me read that again because it's a big one. Wheat, barley, oats, beans, and GMOs. Now, glyphosate, how you may know it best, is the main ingredient in the weed killer Roundup and is the most widely used chemical herbicide in history. Chances are this chemical is in at least some of the food you'll eat today, even if that food is organic, non-GMO, and natural. So let's learn a little bit more about this herbicide glyphosate. So after the introduction of Roundup in 1974, farmers began using more and more of this weed killer to make life on the farm a bit easier by killing off invasive species of weeds that could threaten crop yields. And then in the 1990s, Monsanto launched their genetically modified Roundup Ready soybeans, carried out a very active and aggressive campaign to get more farmers to use these seeds. And the purpose of these seeds is to allow everything else around them to be sprayed with pesticides without killing the cash crop. Roundup could then be used liberally on the fields without the GMO crops dying. So if you've heard about corn is a big one when it comes to GMOs, this is why, okay? Now, while most farmers spray the crops after they reach maturity, which kills the weeds and makes it easier for harvesting, some farmers use glyphosate to force their crops to ripen early. So this is increasingly common for crops such as wheat, barley, oats, and beans, and allows farmers to get a better harvest, even in areas with a short growing season. We have to remember that food is a business. Food is a business. And so farmers naturally want to make as much money as they can. So I just want to recap here. Glyphosate has been linked to breast cancer, neurotoxicity, oxidative damage, miscarriage, kidney disease, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, to name just a few. So I think this is a great argument personally for going gluten-free, which, by the way, I've been gluten-free for over 12 years. That does not mean that we shop in the gluten-free aisle, by the way, just so you know. It's a bit different. So we can make that into a topic for another month, going gluten-free and why it's a great idea for us. So let's take a look here. We've had like all the doom and gloom. We've had where to find these chemicals. Let's talk about now what you can actually eat to minimize these pesticides. Again, is it possible to get rid of them altogether? No, it really isn't. But it's about being mindful, right? And making some choices that are going to be helpful. Because numerous intervention studies have shown that you can lower your circulating pesticide levels by 80 to 90% in less than 1 week by eating a mostly organic diet. Crazy, right? Our bodies are the most amazing vessel that we are able to heal, really, and help ourselves in that little time. So you may have been saying for a while, does organic really make a difference? I think this shows you that it does. 100% it makes a difference. Now, while washing fruits and vegetables can help reduce levels of some pesticides, it won't remove them all. And many pesticides actually work their way into the flesh of the plant and therefore cannot be washed off. But don't despair. This is where, in all of this month that we've been talking about reducing toxins, I've been talking about one of my favorite resources, and that's the Environmental Working Group, ewg.org, and they've got our backs here again, okay? Every year, and this particular slide deck is actually from last year, but I don't believe this year has changed. So every year they put out something called the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15, right? Because the idea, especially right now in this current economic climate, the idea of switching and buying everything organic may be prohibitive to some people. I completely understand that. Completely. And so if we're thinking about being budget conscious, but we also want to be better with our toxins and ingesting those pesticides, and specifically glyphosate, we want to be looking at the dirty dozen, which are the 12 fruits and vegetables most affected by pesticides. I'm going to be showing you these, what they are. So feel free, especially if you're watching the replay, pause the video, take a screenshot, take a snap with your phone, or head over to ewg.org. You can actually get these sent to you. So these are the 12 fruits and vegetables most affected by pesticides and the 15 fruits and veggies least affected by pesticides. Right? So we don't have to buy everything. So as of 2021, and I think this year, like I said, it's been updated. It's things like strawberries, spinach, kale, all of your greens, nectarines, apples, grapes, cherries, peaches, pears, peppers, celery, tomatoes. All of these things would be things that I would want you to be choosing organic. These are the 12 fruits and vegetables most affected by pesticides, and they all have something in common. And that's that we tend to eat the whole entire thing. Okay, I'm going to be sharing with you in a second one of my hacks that I use, because sometimes we don't have this information with us. Sometimes we can't remember. That's all okay. Let's first of all now take a look at the clean 15. Avocados, sweet corn, pineapple, onions, papaya, peas, eggplant, asparagus, broccoli, cabbage, kiwi, cauliflower, mushrooms, honeydew, and cantaloupe. These are foods that you don't necessarily need to be buying organic unless you would like to. Unless you would like to. Now, my Karin hack is if you're in the store and you're looking at something and you're saying, do I eat the whole thing, including the skin? And if the answer is yes, I recommend choosing organic. You're eating the whole entire thing. If the answer is no, and if we go back to the clean 15 and we look at things like avocados, got a really good shell, but we don't eat. Sweet corn, really good husk, we don't eat. Pineapple, really big skin that we don't eat. And so on and so forth. It doesn't apply to all of them, but most of them. So this is a really quick, easy hack to help yourself when you're in the store. Okay, ask yourself simply, do you eat the skin? And if you do, and you can make the organic choice, make the organic choice. Now, what about our old pal glyphosate, right? Well, glyphosate's not allowed on organic crops. So the organic samples that the EWG tested that contained it may have been contaminated by chemicals drifting from nearby conventional crop fields, and evidence of the need to ban on all pre-harvest uses of glyphosate, right? If it's drifting, then this is a really good example and evidence of why we need the ban. And by the way, the EWG works on this all the time. If you do sign up for their newsletters and stuff, they do sign through petitions all the time to sign, where you're able to express your opinion. So I wanted to share just 4 of the products that EWG has tested for glyphosate. I think you'll find it quite interesting. Let me grab my tea here. So one of them is hummus. And on average, conventional, and they took these slides right from the EWG website, by the way. So on average, conventional hummus had nearly 5 times more glyphosate than organic alternatives. You can see the numbers right there. 5 times. So are we switching to organic hummus? I do. My hummus is organic, or I make it. Oat breakfast cereal. It's a big one. Big one. On average, because so often we think that we're eating oatmeal and it's good for us, but conventional oat-based cereals had nearly 700 times more glyphosate than an organic alternative. That's a lot. That's a lot. And if you're having oatmeal every day for breakfast, that's a lot of glyphosate in your system. Granola. On average, conventional oat-based granola had nearly 300 times more glyphosate. Another big one, something you could be eating every day. And a snack bar, on average, a conventional oat-based snack bar had nearly 320 times more glyphosate than the organic alternative. These are big numbers, big numbers. And you may be, like I said, eating these foods every day. Now, there are products that feature the glyphosate residue-free label. It looks like this. I've got a picture of it up on the screen if you're watching. If you're listening, we can Google that for you or hop on over to my YouTube channel and you see the video. So this label offers extra assurance that a product doesn't contain glyphosate. It's challenging to find. I will tell you that. If you're in your regular supermarket, it's really hard to find products with this. If you're in a health food store, excuse me, also like a Sprouts, you're more likely to be able to find it, but it's hard to find in our regular grocery stores. So start thinking about your questions, right? Let's do a little recap to today we talked a lot about minimizing glyphosate, what it is, what it does, and why it's important. So buying organic where possible. We want to be avoiding genetically modified crops, GMOs, most often corn, like I said. So looking at your ingredient labels on things, seeing, does it say corn? Does it say genetically modified corn? Consider going gluten-free. If you need help with that, let me know. And looking for the glyphosate residue-free label. These are the tips for you to take away from today. So the big thing really here is to know where your food is coming from and how it's being grown. Shopping your local farmers markets are great. And it may not be organic, but you can have a conversation with that farmer and you can talk about and find out their personal preferences when it comes to growing food. A lot of local farmers are farming organic, but they're just not certified because it's so expensive. Remember, we're striving for progress, not perfection. I made these shifts over time. You don't need to make them all at once. Just start to think about, can you make a better choice with things? Maybe it's, maybe you start buying organic apples if you're not already. It can be as simple as that, just starting to think about lowering that toxic load. So today we covered how pesticides found in your food might be affecting your health. A few places that you can find them. The list is significantly longer. And what to eat to minimize these pesticides. And I hope that this has been helpful for you guys today. So let me know, are there any questions? Are there any aha moments? Is there anything that came up as I went through that presentation where you're like, wow, that's where I get to make some shifts. Don't take this as pressure, okay? Look at it more as an opportunity for change, an opportunity for growth, an opportunity for you to advocate for your health and well-being. That's how I choose to look at this information. It's not pressure on more to do. It's just awareness of, where do I get to make these shifts so that you can be more empowered and advocate for your health and well-being, right? You're welcome, Rhonda. I'm glad that you found it useful and it was good information. So before we wrap things up today, I did want to let you guys know we are recording this at the end of September. So of course we're going into October, which is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And it can be a month that is full of conflicting emotions, right? If you're over in the Healthy Living After Breast Cancer Facebook community, we post it in there to see how people feel. Some find it an amazing month. It's uplifting for them. It's supportive for them. Others are really troubled by it. And so what I wanted to do for October is I'll be doing 30 days of stress relieving self-care. I'll be doing it in the Facebook group. You'll also have an opportunity to sign up for it so that that information comes right to your email. But the purpose of this is for me to help support you through a month that I know can be stressful. Even if you have good days, you may have not so good days. You may see something that triggers something for you, which happens very commonly. It's a month for me that I find challenging, to be honest. It's challenging to see pink everywhere. It's challenging to see ribbons everywhere. And I am a very positive, optimistic person, but I know that it sometimes is challenging for me. And so, I was thinking, what would I like, right? So it's 30 days of stress relieving self-care. And I invite you to think of it as 30 days of hugs from me to help just support you through the month. You'll also see that through this month, and I'm going to be doing this going forward, is I'm going to be teaching one class a month, and you'll have 3 different times to choose from it. So upcoming this month in October, starting October 1st, the first one is October 1st, I'm going to be teaching a class for how to get your energy back after breast cancer. It's a free class, and when you click, you'll find the link either above or below this video. And when you click that link, when you go to sign up and save your spot, you get the choice of the 3 dates that are currently available. Okay, so hop on there. Don't wait. The space will go. It's limited. These classes are going to be small. They're going to be intimate. They're going to be interactive, so that I can really support you, to help you get your energy back. I know it's one of the hardest struggles for us after breast cancer, and so that's going to be next month in October. So have any questions, feel free to pop them in the comments. If you're watching the replay, put #replay. Susan is sharing that her tiny gardenette is mostly organic. Love it, Susan. Great. And you know what? That's the thing, right? When we grow our food, we know exactly where it's coming from. It's perfect, perfect, perfect. So doing that wherever we can is really, really a smart thing to do. So any other questions, guys, before we finish up here today? I'm glad that this has been helpful. Don't forget, sign up for the free class, How to Get Your Energy Back After Breast Cancer. We've got the holidays coming up, and we know that they can be energy sucking at the best of times. So get a little bit of support before we go into that time of year. Okay. You are so welcome, Susan. My pleasure is always. Good to see you. And hopefully we don't lose power as we journey through this hurricane. If we do, then obviously I won't be as active on social media or anything anywhere else for a while. But there are things we can control and things that we can't. And if we lose power, we can't control that. We can control taking care of ourselves while that is going on. So thank you, Rhonda Joe. Rhonda Joe is praying for our safety. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. We're prepared, and so we hope that we'll be hunkering down, and we'll be doing good. So everybody stay safe, stay well. Don't forget, sign up for that class, How to Get Your Energy Back After Breast Cancer. You'll find the link either above or below wherever you're watching this video. And hopefully next time I see you, the shutters are off and it's bright and sunny here in Florida again. So have a great week, everybody, and I will see you soon. Bye for now.